Part 40. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 395. Chapter 395 Divine Ability. I saw that his hands were slightly moving, and the temperature in the entire cave suddenly fell sharply. Vertex novels, handwriting novels. No problemi, don't know if it is because of Wei Suo's action, or because it is very difficult. Jiya's face is red and very shy. With Wei Suo's current cultivation base, Ice Dragon True Secrets, the powerful energy of this Ice Dragon, which is almost equivalent to the lowest shift of Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure Powerful Energy, now and Jiya Black Great Treasure Lingzi Powerful Energy is equivalent, then Jiya this Great Treasure Lingzi Power Energy, just try it out. This Ice Dragon is very cohesive, and even the body is a piece of scales, it looks like a true dragon. The golden crystal light column collided with the great treasure Lingzi made by Wei Suo, and it kept bursting with the bang, and it was burned into a group of golden origin chi. It looked obviously better than Wei Suo's great treasure Lingzi powerful energy is going to look a bit worse. Pa. What? Jiya took a look at Wei Suo and asked strangely. Wei Suo, use this cultivation base to display the Steo technique Shapeshift Great Art. The powerful energy is even more powerful than the Shao rank high grades Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure Powerful Energy. Jiya immediately gave a surprise surging sound. Awkward, the white spiritual chi tumbling on Jiya stopped, and the lust on his face was loose. Among the caves with 5 red-colored red crystal columns, Wei Suo held the Shapeshift Great Art beads in one hand, inspiring a circle of red halo, and protecting himself and Jiya. A group of ice and cold white gas, out of the air, immediately condense a white ice dragon. Under Wei Suo's controls, the white ice dragon immediately slammed into the black great treasure Lingzi made by Jiya. And Wei Suo's this great treasure Lingzi is obviously amazing, and the light appearance is more than half of the great treasure of Jiya. Heaven level mid-level Shapeshift Great Art is worth the heaven level mid-level Shapeshift Great Art. The speed of the Steo technique Shapeshift Great Art is not compared to the Shapeshift Great Art and the Guy's Water Emperor. The Steo technique Shapeshift Great Art is beyond the power of powerful energy and burning True Yuan and Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure, and this kind of Shapeshift Great Art can also burn Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure into the cultivator naked body. Wei Suo reached out and 16 antiquity ominous fire fired into 16 black light breaking into the tip of his index finger. On the same day as Yeling, Wei Suo had 2 annihilation golden cores on hand, and killing Yeling was 100%. The only variable is just that bloody spirit old ancestor will not. Like Jiya, after True Yuan's attention, the flames on the 16 antiquity ominous fires immediately condensed a great treasure Lingzi. Jiya, you use this Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure to try the powerful energy of my Deo technique Shapeshift Great Art. At the same time, Wei Suo took out the Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure that he had in the little heavenly realm that inspired the golden crystal beam and handed it to Jiya. No wonder this Mystic Fiend Great Technique Shapeshift Great Art is also the heaven level mid-level Shapeshift Great Art. It seems that there are also many mysteries. After saying this, Wei Suo suddenly smiled. Since the Sharpshift Great Art is so amazing, then we are not. How much is the congeal of the cold core of your Mystic Fiend Great Technique Shapeshift Great Art? Wei Suo a hand, but is also he that has just as crystal naked body General Mystic Fiend Ghost Claw, put in front of the eyes, as if the general, clever wife, I feel the last good fortune Deo after pills dual cultivation. My Mystic Fiend Ghost Claw's Yin Chi has been condensed, and the Mystic Fiend Ghost has been Claw as Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure Fetal Naked Body, should be subjected to its powerful energy on the Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure or Surgery Shapeshift Great Art Heavy Blow. This Mystic Fiend Ghost Claw should only be shattered some, the loss of powerful energy should not be so great treasure. Upon seeing this great treasure Lingzi condense, Wei Suo's eyes flickered for a moment. Wei Suo nodded and smiled slightly, try to see how powerful it is. Yes. Jiya immediately inspired this golden Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure. But now Wei Suo is refined into the shapeshift great art like antiquity ominous fire secrets. In the face of Yeling's level of cultivator, Wei Suo does not have an annihilation golden core. It is also a stable victory, and at most it is escaped by the other party. Lost. As soon as I heard Wei Suo say, Jiya's face suddenly became red, but he nodded. He replied, my cold core seems to be condensed, and it's almost Dao rank the powerful energy of the product. It's just a tender face, it's just scaring you but I like intercourse. Looking at the back of Jiya's desert, Wei Suo was a wretched smile. And Jiya's heart lust is obviously a little excited. After Wei Suo nodded, she saw her flames flicking between the fingers, 16 small black Lingzi flames, flying from her fingertips. Out, the blossoming floated in front of her. On the same day, Yeling is just the right hand to reach Dao rank high grades offensive shapeshift great art great treasure or shapeshift great art, otherwise, in the case of the little spirit of blood spirit old ancestor, Wei Suo wants to kill Yeling, maybe even use annihilation golden core. After the time of the half stick of incense, a black oil-like flame was introduced into the naked body by Wei Suo. My cultivation base has been displayed, and it has been produced to Dao rank. It is your cultivation base. It should be able to go to Dao rank high grade shapeshift great art great treasure. Jiya took 16 black flames and watched Wei Suo in surprise. You are also congeal out the remaining antiquity ominous fire. After a crackdown in the light road, after the suppression, only the purple spiritual chi tumbling outside Wei Suo calmed down. Wei Suo fired his fingers, and 16 black Lingzi-like antiquity ominous fires were suspended in front of him. Well, let me see how she is doing in the end. Jiya took 2 earth fire immortal lotus and was ready to turn and leave. It's the heaven level great level, shapeshift great art, clever wife you are using the power of this Dao technique shapeshift great art you have already qualified to Dao rank and the powerful energy of shapeshift great art great treasure. Immediately, the 16 black flames seemed to form a shapeshift great art array. Each black flame produced an inexplicable attraction. Jiya's true yuan was actually pulled into 16 shares, and the source was continuously a black flame absorbs it. Clever wife, although your cultivation base is not enough to play the full power of this Dao rank high grade shapeshift great art great treasure, but I feel that the power of this antiquity ominous fire secrets is beyond this. Above the entire powerful energy of shapeshift great art great treasure. This should be the addition of fire spirit root, otherwise according to the records on antiquity ominous fire secrets, my cultivation base is almost the power of Dao rank high grade. Fire spirit root can at least enhance the power of the shapeshift great art. After the collection of 16 antiquity ominous fire, Wei Suo is obviously already thought well, a hand, the hands of red Guancan, but is taken out of 2 pieces of earth fire immortal lotus hand to Jiya, antiquity ominous fire although nothing burns, different true UN forces inspire antiquity ominous fire to burn each other, cannot shapeshift great art, but this surgery shapeshift great art the power is indeed strong great treasure, Hanwai Wei practice, then the enemy power is great. Treasure increase. With our current strength, to deal with 1 or 2 cultivators below the golden core 3rd layer, there should be no problem with great treasure, but maybe it will be enemies with Eastern Jade Paradise and sect like Taimen. Still not ensured, or to refine the Black Bone Dark Lord here. I estimate that I have refining the Black Bone Dark Lord, and Hanwai Wei has had the same time to break through the 2 pieces of Earth Fire Immortal Lotus, Thought Division Realm and refining. I will help her protect the shapeshift great art, congeal antiquity ominous fire. Clever wife, wait a moment but she was immediately shouted by Wei Suo. But with the entry of this true UN, the 16 black flames on the black light at the same time, the blazing black fire. As Wei Suo's hands bounced, a thick ink-like liquid flew out of a pill bottle in his hand, wrapped in true UN, wrapped around the seemingly awkward bones. At the same time, Wei Suo squeezed out a pair of shapeshift great art from time to time. Soon, the whole quiet room was wrapped in a gray shade. The green light was constantly lit, and the ghosting surging sound was heard. G. On Jiya's body, a white, spiritual chi is rolling, and his face is also a very difficult god lust. I saw a golden crystal light beam immediately from the golden shapeshift great art great treasure, and hit the great treasure Lingzi made by Wei Suo. Under the impact of the white ice dragon and great treasure Lingzi, the two are dissipated invisible, as if the powerful energy is quite similar. In the cave, a surging sound, a giant great treasure burst. Good.it turned out that during this time, Wei Suo first helped Jiya protect the shapeshift great art congeal antiquity ominous fire, and he also took the Jiya congeal antiquity ominous fire. True Yuan was almost worn out, and the rate was supplemented by True Yuan. When, congeal antiquity ominous fire. By this time he was only the last antiquity ominous fire. After nodding at the moment, Wei Suo didn't say much. He squeezed a shapeshift great art directly into his hands, and a black-red brilliance spewed in his mouth, hitting a black oil-like flame on the red crystal column in front. Then, when I saw Wei Suo, I also took a picture and plucked the cave. A moment later, Wei Suo was already in the secret place in a quiet room, and in front of him stood a bone that was much higher than him. After the 16 black flames were formed, Jiya reached for a stroke and a True Yuan flew out of her hand. I have to go to Wei first. Wei Suo hasn't finished yet, and Jiya immediately ignited a divine light screen and flew out like a frightened rabbit. When the 16 black flames came out, the temperature in the entire cave did not change at all, as if the 16 black flames did not have the slightest heat. The skeleton of this high-grade treasure has 4 arms and the color is silver with gold, which is the skeleton of the 4-armed silver eagle. No problem seeing such a scene. Wei Suo's eyes suddenly showed a surprised look, and reached out to wipe a few drops of sweat on Jiya's forehead. All the black fires that were exuded were condensed together at an alarming rate, and in front of the 16 black flames, a black Lingzi with a 2-foot length was formed. The heat on this great treasure Lingzi is amazing, and the air around it is constantly sizzling, even if the secret place is in the power of the shapeshift great art beads. Wei Suo and Jiya clearly felt that the surrounding temperature was rising sharply. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 396. Chapter 396. As time went by, Cloud Spirit Continent talked less about Wei Suo's retreat. Vertex novels, handwriting novels. It's the news of Little Heavenly Realm, but I don't know why it was passed out. So many of the sects of Cloud Spirit Continent, many rogue cultivators, have flooded into Little Heavenly Realm, the number of cultivators active in the Extinction Sea. However, it has surged. In this regard, and Cloud Spirit Continent, I don't know how many miles of Heavenly Profound Continent, basically know nothing about it. Heavenly Profound Continent's northern part has a small town called North Spirit City. The city is small in size and is now run by a sect called Wanling Zone. It can only hold about 50,000 cultivators. The name in Heavenly Profound Continent is not Great Treasure, but the name of the city is at High. Among the level cultivator, it is spread widely, and its reputation is extremely loud. The reason for this is that there is an ancient transmission shapeshift great art array in the city. This transmits the shapeshift great art array, but the ultra-long distance transmission of the shapeshift great art array connects to a secret place monument that is only 30,000 miles from Cloud Spirit Continent. This distance transmission shapeshift great art array, there are only 3 in the entire Heavenly Profound Continent, but this transmission of the shapeshift great art array, only to the cultivator of the Thought Division Realm 5th layer cultivation base, can barely withstand shapeshift great art the impact on the flesh and divine consciousness when the array was launched. Thought Division Realm 5th layer the following cultivator, even if you want to go to other great treasures, you usually only need to transfer the shapeshift great art array several times, then set the shapeshift great art adventure to pass at least 300,000 miles outside Heaven's Dome. Wild Wilderness. The cultivator of Thought Division Realm 5th layer cultivation base is very rare in any great treasure land. And the general cultivator, if it is not necessary, is unlikely to leave the environment that you are familiar with, and go to the earth treasure that is not familiar with it. In addition, the cost of transmitting the Shapeshift Great Art Array is 10,000 downscale spiritual stones, so in the Snow White But Spirit City, although there are many high-level cultivators known to the ancient transfer Shapeshift Great Art Array, this transmission Shapeshift Great Art Array, but it is hard to start several times a year. But on this day, Ancient has sent a lot of Ancient to transmit the Shapeshift Great Art Array, but suddenly it has sent a pale yellow spirit light. The pale yellow spirit light forms a sky-filled spirit light beam in this Ancient transmission Shapeshift Great Art Array. In the astonished eyes of several Wanling Zone disciples who guarded the battle, a young man wearing a cyan Shapeshift Great Art suit and two young female cultivators appeared in the giant light spirit light beam. Come out. The young man wearing the cyan Shapeshift Great Art looks like he is only in his 20s, his face is sallow, and he appears with two female cultivators in the Shapeshift Great Art Array. The faces are very ordinary, but they are all in shape. It is extremely embarrassing and gives a feeling of surprise. I saw that the young cultivator and the two female cultivators came out of the Shapeshift Great Art Array without any discomfort. Surging Sound asked about the Shapeshift Great Art Array in North Spirit City and other cities. After the secret place, they entered the Northern Spirit City and another short distance transmission of the Shapeshift Great Art Array. The transmission of Spirit Light, which transmitted the Shapeshift Great Art Array, disappeared. The appearance of the three cultivators of a man and two women in the secret place, but a little more talk about this North Spirit City. However, the cultivator of North Spirit City does not know that this male and two female cultivators, but one city, do not stop at all the way to the south. Originally, even Golden Core Realm, or even the giant treasure cultivator of the Golden Core Realm 4th layer 5th layer, so that the Shapeshift Great Art Array can be passed, the flesh and divine consciousness will not stand but the male and female three cultivators, when entering each of the Shapeshift Great Art Arrays and transmitting the Shapeshift Great Art Array, the singular ancient talisman in the hands of the male cultivator will emit the brilliance, and then the three cultivators. Well, it seems that nothing has been affected by the transmission of the Shapeshift Great Art Array. In just one day, the male and female three cultivators turned across the great treasure half of heavenly profound continent, and the Shapeshift Great Art of Blue Wind Mound outside the southernmost spirit peak city of heavenly profound continent in the middle, it shows the figure. After escaping from the transmitting Shapeshift Great Art in the belly of Blue Wind Mound, the three cultivators, both men and women, swept past Heaven's Dome outside Blue Wind Mound. The three cultivators stopped when they arrived at Heaven's Dome outside Blue Wind Mound. Finally home, looking at Heaven's Dome in front of me, the young man in the green shirt couldn't help but say the sentence. The eyes of the three people are full of an inexplicable look. These three cultivators are naturally easy to use, Wei Suo and Ji Ya, Han Wai Wei. Let's go. After seeing a moment in front of Heaven's Dome, Wei Suo took the lead through Heaven's Dome and then directly presented Chi Fire Boat. The dome monster number outside the Heaven Beast Heavenly Profound Continent, though not necessarily more than extinction around Monster Sea, is, crucially, Beastchen Sea around the Monster Beast. Great treasure is water attribute Monster Beast, great treasure half are in the ocean under the movement, so in this secret place the sky on the wild wilderness flies away, hitting the high-level Monster Beast, but much higher than the extinction sea. Adding to the most unpredictable factor outside of Heaven's Dome is that you don't even know what kind of Monster Beast will hit, and maybe you have a great treasure to shake the great treasure and fly outside for a day, you don't have to get a level 5 high level above the Monster Beast, but it is also possible to fly out less than a few hundred miles, and immediately hit a level 7, or even level 8 of the Monster Beast. Basically, whether it is Heavenly Profound Continent or Cloud Spirit Continent, Golden Core Stage Great Treasure Cultivator is degraded every year, but the cultivator like Yaling is still a minority, and most of the Great Treasure is still exploring Great Treasure. I died in some restrictions, and I was defeated by the high-level monster beast outside Heaven's Dome. Now Wei Suo is wont to see oneself spent a lot of strength decorate the night cave mansion in the end, so the chi fire boat fly away is also very low-key, is still in line with the previous route, and all the way or always keep cautious. After all, this Heaven's Dome outside the wild wilderness change extremely great treasure. This flash several years time passed, perhaps some originally did not have the high-level monster beast entrenched place, already had the high-level monster beast existence also not necessarily. Chi fire boat headed for the Little Night Mountain, and after a peaceful flight of more than 400 miles from Heaven's Dome, Wei Suo suddenly stopped Chi fire boat. "Don't hide, come out," Wei Suo said a faintly one in the middle of the secret place. After Wei Suo's the sentence of surging sound, magnificent light flashes, the three faces are somewhat cloudy, and some of the cultivators in the eyes are afraid of the look, showing the figure. The three cultivators are headed by a middle-aged face cultivator wearing a yellow shapeshift great art. The other two are wearing a common cyan shapeshift great art suit, a great treasure about 27 years old, face. Some are slender, and the other is only 20 years old, the face is white and looks very fine. The three cultivators, only the first middle-aged face cultivator is the cultivation base of the heavenly circuit realm third layer, the remaining two young cultivators, one is the divine sea realm fifth layer and the other is the cultivation base of the divine sea realm fourth layer. "You are hiding in front of me and want to attack us." Seeing the three cultivators showing the original image, Wei Suo did not move the surging sound color and swept the three people, and said faintly. The seniors misunderstood as soon as we heard Wei Suo say. The middle-aged face cultivator immediately had a cold sweat on his forehead, and smiled bitterly. "Beyond Heaven's Dome, we just saw the escape light of the predecessors, and I was afraid that the predecessors would be unfavorable to us. So we can hide, and we dare to be disadvantaged to your predecessors. As long as you answer me a few questions seriously, I will not bother you." Wei Suo knows that the low-grade cultivator is a natural awe in the face of the cultivation base. It is a natural awe, so I don't talk nonsense. I immediately asked the three cultivators, "Where are you from?" The cultivator. "The three of us are all rogue cultivators from Spirit Peak City." As soon as we heard Wei Suo say, the middle-aged face cultivator immediately replied with no scorn. "Rogue cultivator from Spirit Peak City." Wei Suo sighed a little and said, "I haven't passed Spirit Peak City for many years. Is Spirit Peak City's most great treasure sect, or Heaven's first sect?" "Nature is Heaven's first section." The middle-aged face cultivator blinked in the eye, but did not dare to hesitate and nodded. "So, do you know how many golden core stage great treasure cultivators are there for Heaven's first sect?" Wei Suo then asked for the surging sound color. "Golden core stage great treasure cultivator, Heaven's first sect should be only one, it should be called Reverend Tian-san." "Oh." Wei Suo blinked. "I heard that the rare treasure pavilion in Spirit Peak City was sold by many medicine pills. Is rare treasure pavilion still there?" "Rare treasure pavilion is still there, only Jia, the treasurer of the rare treasure pavilion, has been married back to Eastern Jade Paradise." Jia has been married back to Eastern Jade Paradise. Wei Suo couldn't help but look at each other with Jia and Han Weiwei. How have I not heard of this? The original Eastern Jade Paradise wanted to do a great treasure, invited a lot of sect and cultivator to go to the ceremony, but it was said that Jia didn't want to be such a great treasure, and then everything was simple, just Eastern Jade Paradise's own operation. Just a moment. The middle-aged face cultivator looked at Wei Suo and explained, "The predecessors have never been to Spirit Peak City for a long time. I don't know about this, but it may be for this reason." "How many golden core stage great treasure cultivators does Eastern Jade Paradise have now?" Wei Suo sighed a little and then asked. "Eastern Jade Paradise also has a golden core stage great treasure cultivator, which seems to be called Reverend Chang Feng." The middle-aged cultivator looked at Wei Suo and said, "But it is said that an elder will hit the golden core in the near future." "Oh. We have something to go to the vicinity of Xiaoyu Mountain, but we are not familiar with this secret place Heaven's Dome. Do you know where the Little Night Mountain is?" Wei Suo did not move the surging sound color and asked the sentence deliberately. Little Night Mountain. When we heard Wei Suo say, the face of the middle-aged cultivator changed immediately. What, is there anything wrong? Wei Suo asked in a heart. I don't know what to do. I don't know anything strange about Xuanhuan Mountain. It is said that the cultivator in the secret place has not come out in recent years. It seems that there is a cultivator of the Thought Division Realm cultivation base. I want to find out what happened, but I have not come out. In recent years, there is generally no cultivator. Go to the secret place. Asked about the middle-aged square face cultivator. The next chapter should be updated at 9 p.m. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 397. Chapter 397 Amazing Giant Vine. The orientation of the Little Night Mountain is that the secret place continues to go ahead of the great treasure about 700 or 800 miles. The Vertex novels hit the novel. Seeing Wei Suo's face without a lust, the middle-aged face cultivator immediately added a sentence. Okay, I know. Wei Suo faintly looked at the middle-aged face cultivator. There is one more thing, I want to intercourse. We don't like intercourse, people know the whereabouts, so you better not talk to anyone at this secret place. To our business. As long as you understand this, you can do it now. Thank you for your predecessors. The middle-aged face cultivator immediately looked like a great treasure, and after a ceremony at Wei Suo, he immediately called a surging sound against two young cultivators behind him, ready to leave immediately. But their figure has not moved. The black and red magnificent light flashes. Chi fire boat has been spurred out of the distance of 670 feet, just a moment of time, disappeared into their sight. Wu great treasure, what is the origin of these three cultivators? How seems to have never heard of it. The youngest cultivator, with a lingering look at the direction in which Wei Suo and others disappeared, asked the middle-aged face cultivator. Go, this is a good luck. The middle-aged face cultivator waved a cold sweat and took the lead toward a secret place jungle in front. He said, these three are the powerful cultivators of the Thought Division realm. The age of them, and the shapeshift great art clothing, including this Cornice shapeshift great art great treasure, is not a product. Definitely what great sect elite disciple. It is the elite disciple of heaven's first sect, which is not so majestic. It takes no effort to kill us. After you remember to go back, you must not disclose anything about the three people to anyone, or you will be very dangerous if you meet them in the future. No, Wu great treasure brother. Rare treasure pavilion seems to be divided up by Eastern Jade Paradise and Heaven's first section. Eastern Jade Paradise is so shameless that she actually claimed that senior sister married Dong King Ai, the second ancestor. On the Chi fire boat, Han Weiwei's face was white, and the gangs were all smothered. It doesn't matter. When we really show up Jia, their Eastern Jade Paradise will be completely mocked and the face will be gone. Wei Suo's face has not changed much, very calmly said, they dare to publish such news, certainly because we are already dead in the transmission of shapeshift great art. They still have only one golden core stage cultivator, Wei Suo, or we will deal with Eastern Jade Paradise now. Hearing Wei Suo, Han Weiwei's face looked good. The elder who hit golden core is probably Li Xiahua. With our current strength, there should be no problem in dealing with them. Not yet. Special insurance. Ji Ya shook his head. Heaven's first sect is definitely an ally with Eastern Jade Paradise. We have to deal with Eastern Jade Paradise. Heaven's first sect should also deal with us. They are the local snakes, and all the transmissions of the shapeshift great art are in their hands. If it is time to fall into their siege, we have no secret place. Lust is not good, or slowly come back, not in a hurry. All of this was discussed. After a long time, the shadow of Xiaoyu Mountain appeared in the sight of Wei Suo and others. How can Xiaoyu Mountain become like this? After flying closer, After seeing the whole picture of Xiaoyu Mountain, Weisuo and Jiyat and Han Wei were filled with amazed look. The shape of the whole naked body of Xiaoyu Mountain was like a chamber pot. The cave house built by Weisuo is in the valley like the mouth of the night pot. When Weisuo left, he just made some arrangements in the valley at the entrance to the cave. Some fog covered the valley, so that the cultivator passed by could not see the scene inside the valley. But now within the range of hundreds of miles around the Xiaoyu Mountain, there is actually a thick white mist, and you can't see the scene inside the little night mountain. It's not like a natural formation. It seems that what shape-shift great art array was arranged in this small night mountain. Weisuo frowned with a chi fire boat hovering over the night of the little night mountain. Basically, the sight can only see the scenery within 10 feet of the thick fog, which seems to be much thicker than the fog in the hibernation gas sea. It won't be Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun. Han Wei couldn't help but look at Weisuo. Zhen Chongming. Zhu Xiaochun. Weisuo felt a bit unbelievable, but after a little hesitation, Weisuo encouraged True Yuan and shouted surging sound. After waiting for a while, the small white mountains shrouded in white fog were quiet and there was no reaction. Go ahead and look at it, you are careful. After Weisuo sighed a little, he nodded to Han Wei and Jiyat and said, maybe the secret place may also be taken over by others. All right. As soon as we heard Weisuo say, Jiyat flashed in his hands, but took 2 pieces of golden shape-shift great art great treasure. It seems that Weisuo is the 2 pieces of Shao rank high grades shape-shift great art great treasure. Put it on Jiyat. Han Wei is a bit of a slap in the face of an opponent, can't wait to take a shot on his slave bag. I saw a yellow light on her slave bag, and the silver beast appeared from the middle. Compared with the time when she was in the Fire Island, her primal chaos Yunwei was obviously long and great treasure. However, this silver little beast is still calling the great treasure to sleep. Weisuo, when is this guy going to sleep? Why did your mind-devouring bug wake up after a day or two? As soon as I saw the silver little beast still screaming at great treasure, Han Wei suddenly burst into a mouth. How do I know this? But it should be in normal growth, there is no problem. After shaking his head, Weisuo reached out and took out the Blue Emperor bottle gourd, which had been used for a long time. With his true Yuan intent, the Blue Emperor bottle gourd immediately inspired a group of science spiritual chi. Wrap the 3 people together. Less sleep can't be done. After Han Wei poked the forehead of the silver beast, the silver beast was collected and the golden light flashed, but another golden shape-shift great art great treasure was taken in his hand. Let's go. Seeing that both Han Wei and Jiyat were ready, Weisuo reached out and offered the hidden light he got in the sea hunting assembly. However, the brilliance of the clear light, it seems that the white dense fog below does not dispel the effect. Seeing this lust shape, Weisuo did not hesitate to close the clear light, but the backup refers to a slight bounce, and a black-red Lingzi-like flame suddenly formed in front of him. Chi! Chi! In the non-sounding surging sound, the white dense fog within the range of more than 30 feet around this black-red flame is all far away from the amazing heat. I will also help you get rid of some fog. As soon as I saw the action of Weisuo, Han Wei was immediately a look at the burning with the desire test. The eager fingers and bullets actually condensed a black Lingzi-like flame. But what made her immediately depressed was that her black Lingzi-like flame was a little too small and Weisuo's, and it only dispelled the fog of a few feet. Weisuo didn't say anything. After nodding, Chi fire boat slowly descended. There is something. Be careful. Just after flying down a distance of more than 50 feet, Weisuo suddenly changed his face, and a yellow divine light screen instantly appeared outside the 3 people. At the same time, the antiquity ominous fire also went down. The sinking down. What is it? Han Wei bowed and issued a surging sound, and immediately spurred the golden shape-shift great art great treasure in the hand. I saw the white mist below, and suddenly rolled out 5 or 6 round black shadows, giving people the first feeling, it is like the 5 or 6 giants in an amazing situation, looking towards the three people. Don't inspire shapeshift great art great treasure. Han Wei, stop the antiquity ominous fire. But at this time, Wei Suo seemed to react suddenly, his face changed, and he issued a surging sound sternly shouted. At the same time, he reached out and he inspired the ancient antiquity ominous fire to disappear immediately, while Chi fire boat was also picked up by him at the same time. When we heard Wei Suo's surging sound sternly shouted, Han Wei and Ji Ya all paused and stopped the movement of shapeshift great art great treasure, but Han Wei's antiquity ominous fire was slower. I saw that the antiquity ominous fire disappeared in a moment, 5 or 6 purple-red giant treasure vines swept across, and smashed the place where the antiquity ominous fire disappeared. Then, the vines of these giant great treasures paused and seemed to hesitate a little, and then without the surging sound, they shrank back in the white mist. This is immortal slaying vine. Han Wei's face was slightly white and faint for a while, and it was incredible to look at Wei Suo. How could this immortal slaying vine grow such a great treasure? Hearing Han Wei Suo is also a look of surprise. Although I can't see the scenery below, he can be sure that there is still more than 300 feet away from the valley where his Dongfu is located. At this distance, immortal slaying vine can attack them, indicating that the immortal slaying vine has grown more than 300 feet. Although immortal slaying vine is not slow, it is necessary to have enough monster beast to nourish the lust. And in the valley where his cave house is located, it seems to have been arranged by the shapeshift great art of divine consciousness. It is explored by Wei Suo's current divine consciousness, giving him the feeling that the valley below seems to be empty. He felt it when the immortal slaying vine was rolled up. After a slight sigh, Wei Suo made up his mind and continued to inspire the Blue Emperor bottle gourd, while wrapped in Han Wei and Ji Ya withdrew Yuan and continued to fall down the valley below. No. When Wei was close to the bottom of the valley, Han Wei immediately took a breath. Now the three people can see clearly. There are still more than 30 immortal slaying vine in this valley, but each of the 30 immortal slaying vine has a bucket-like thickness, which is indeed at least 300 feet. The length, lying on the cliff, makes people feel a sense of shock at first glance. The next chapter is updated at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 398. Lord Snowhawk. Dragon Legend. Super Soldier. Cultivation of Rain and Clouds. Budo Supreme. King Yanjai. My neighbor is a banshee. Zion Mu Legend. Phagocytosis Fiction Network. According to the rules in the world of monasticism, generally only the real top-level immortality medicine will have the word Dao in its name. As soon as he swallowed this phlox pill, Wei Suo immediately felt that in this phlox pill, 2 different energies were transformed, one hot and one cold. The hot vitality quickly fused into his body, making his energy vigorous. The cool and icy vitality was chasing around in his body and was not absorbed by his body. It seemed to be looking for a place to vent. With his close fit with Ji Ya, the cool and moist vitality flowed into Ji Ya's body when he performed the exercises in accordance with the exercises, and was absorbed by Ji Ya. This phlox pill is really a real top-level pill, good stuff. Wei Suo immediately felt that with this vitality on Fulo Daedon, every time Ji Ya's Yunyuan circulated in his body, the Suansha Yinkai turned out to be 6 more than usual. To 7 times. But for Wei Suo, a bigger surprise appeared. He suddenly felt that Ji Ya's Yin Yuan, which tightly wrapped his Yang Yuan, suddenly developed a strange rhythm. With this sucking rhythm, Ji Ya's Yin Yuan poured into his body. The speed is several times faster. What? Originally, Wei Suo was extremely admired by the monk who created this double cultivation technique while practicing the road. When practicing this technique, it was originally a double pleasure of power improvement and road cultivation. Now, this kind of double the pleasure was doubled, and Wei Suo called at that time. Fortunately, there is no danger in this kind of double cultivation, otherwise Wei Suo may have a direct problem. Good wife, what's going on? Wei Suo suddenly looked at Jiya in disbelief. Jiya's immaculate jade body exuded a faint blush of light at the moment, and it looked like a normal practice. At this moment, we saw Wei Suo's stunned look. When he was originally in double cultivation, he didn't dare to look at Wei Suo's Jiya. He suddenly looked more coy and replied in an inaudible voice, "Last time you were in the sea hunting conference got that booklet. I later saw some of the above records, which were useful for these two cultivation methods, so I took a look." What? Wei Suo was dumbfounded again, and after a moment of reaction, he suddenly became excited. Good wife, what kind of tricks do you call the koi carps to absorb water or swallow the clouds? What sound? A jade-like jade arm lifted up and fell again, rubbing his eyes. The owner of this piece of jade arm is Han Weiwei, a beautiful buttocks. I saw this feminine buttocks beauty as she rubbed her eyes while sitting up in a daze, grinning her mouth as if she was dissatisfied. At this time, Han Weiwei only felt that he was asleep, as if he slept too long, his head was dizzy, a little confused about the situation, and his limbs were weak. After grunting, Han Weiwei rubbed his eyes and found something was wrong. She saw the place where she was in an unfamiliar quiet room as if she had never been there. The arrangement of this quiet room seemed more upscale than her heavenly residence in Lingyu City. Shaking his head, Han Weiwei saw that his clothes had also been changed. What she wore was not the silver cassock before, but a cloud-white palace-style cassock. And this cloud-white palace-style women's cassock is full of spirits, as if at least a real cassock, which is much more upscale than her previous silver cassock. Where am I? Now Han Weiwei recalled that he seemed to have taken the poison of the elder of Dongjao Resort in the treasure pavilion, and then seemed to see Wei Suo rescued himself. But the specific situation is muddled, and I can't remember it. After moving his arms and legs, his mind was still a little dazed. Han Weiwei, who was still awake, only felt that his body was a little weak, but it was no big deal. Did the old gangster Wei Suo save me? What about the sister? While the thought flashed in her mind, she was agitated and seemed to be awake again. At this time, she realized again that the voice that had been there for nothing was not an illusion. The sound was like two fishes giggling in the water, making a snapping sound when tapping the water, but there seemed to be a murmur of noise in it, as if someone was dreaming. What made her even more strange was that the intermittent, murmured voice seemed very similar to the voice of her sister Jiya. Sister. As she continued to look at the surrounding environment, she was tentative and yelled in doubt. No. Faintly, Han Weiwei heard such a voice. This panic-stricken voice seemed to be the general sound of Jiya. Han Weiwei was suddenly anxious. After shaking his head vigorously, he quickly walked towards the direction of the sound. After passing through the two rooms, she stood in front of a quiet room. Hesitated a little, and pushed the door of the quiet room abruptly, just glanced at it, and Han Weiwei screamed in disbelief. Old rogue, you! She saw that in the quiet room, Wei Suo was hugging her sister Jiya tightly, and the two people's bodies were tightly fitting and entangled. The bodies of Wei Suo and Jiya are completely naked and naked. Wei Suo's hands are still walking on Jiya's body. Jiya was like a little sheep, pressed under a tiger, unable to express panic. In such a scene, the first reaction to Han Weiwei was dreaming, but after biting his tongue, he realized that Han Weiwei was not cold when he was dreaming, and Wei Suo immediately appeared in his mind. But just when she screamed to kill Wei Suo, she found something wrong. When she saw Wei Suo's face, she seemed to be crying and helpless. And Wei Suo and Jiya flashed crimson brilliance. Under the skin of the two people, there seemed to be a stream of air, surging at an alarming speed. In the end, what happened? How could this be? For a time, Han Weiwei's head was very clever, but it was not enough. I don't know how long the brain was blank. Wei Suo and Ji Ya's bodies suddenly separated. While separating, a violent breath made Han Wei shake. Ji Ya's chest undulates violently, and her head, which dare not raise her head, will be photographed in the hand by Wei Suo's clothes. When Ji Ya put the clothes on, Wei Suo also recovered, not knowing where to put them, and quickly put on the clothes. "Are you awake?" Wei Suo wanted to say hello to Han Wei with a cheeky face, saying that because you were in a coma for too long and your head was awake, everything you just saw was illusory. But after opening his mouth twice, Wei Suo still felt that his face was not thick enough, and he couldn't say it for a while. "Sister, let me take a break first." At this time, Han Wei suddenly said such a sentence. Turning around, he walked back toward his original quiet room without looking back. Wei Suo, Ji Ya glanced at Wei Suo, stomped her feet, and immediately chased him out. Only Wei Suo was left standing in this quiet room. "This can't blame me, who knows that the final medicine of Fuluo Daeodon will be so fierce." Wei Suo was so depressed that he wanted to die. Originally, even if Han Wei woke up, as he said to Ji Ya, there would be nothing wrong. Because Han Wei woke up, Wei Suo did notice it immediately. But what Wei Suo and Ji Ya did not expect was that the medicine in the first half of the cilium was very peaceful, but the medicine in the latter half was suddenly violent, and the remaining medicine was an instant. "It's all gone." And at this time Ji Ya is just accelerating. In this way, even if Wei Suo's cultivation is taken, if he ceases to practice, there is a possibility that he will explode and die. Therefore, Wei Suo and Ji Ya can only continue to practice. But at this time, Han Wei actually heard the sound and came to them. Feeling that Han Wei was coming, Wei Suo and Ji Ya couldn't stop, nor could they stop Han Wei from coming in. Originally Wei Suo and Ji Ya, still thinking about how Han Wei woke up, how to explain his relationship with Ji Ya, "Now it's good I just saw everything. I don't know what Ji Ya said to her." Even if Wei Suo's face was thick enough, when he thought of the scene just now, his face was hot. What the is going on? After a bitter smile, such thoughts flashed in Wei Suo's mind, and he couldn't help but want to skim outside. Because he discovered that Han Wei was coming, and he couldn't stop it, he immediately gave orders to the Heart Eater in another quiet room, and ordered the Heart Eater to stop Han Wei. But his Heart Eater hasn't responded yet, and seems to have fallen asleep. Let's look at the changes of Xiansha's ghost claws first. But after Wei Suo moved, he stopped with a bitter smile. "Because to the quiet room of the Heart Eater, I had to pass through the quiet room of Han Wei. I don't know what Ji Ya was talking to Han Wei. It was very embarrassing to see Han Wei in the past." With a loud bang, Wei Suo stopped with a wave of his hand, and saw a blue-black yin gushes out of his hand, instantly condensing into a blue-black ghost claw. This ghost claw turned out to be a layer of crystal light, which looked like crystal, much more refined than ever before. If any chapter content is not displayed, please visit to read. Tip: you can search for 0.academy00sy or 00sy in Baidu to visit this site. The site address is. To facilitate reading this book next time, you can click Add Bookmark below to record this reading record, and you can directly read this chapter next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Remember that the more updates you share, the faster. Mobile phone users please visit. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 399. Chapter 399 History. Way old great treasure, where have you gone in the past few years? You are not killed by someone from Eastern Jade Paradise. Way old great treasure, and who is this? It seems that the relationship with you is very unusual. Is it also your good? Zhu Xiaochun and Zhen Chongming. After 2 unbelievable stays, they all want to pinch Wei Suo and see if Wei Suo is really. The apex novel is a novel. Although the two are not so smart, their eyes seem to have no problem at all. My business will tell you later, let me tell you first, how can it be like this? Wei Suo looked at the two people silently, and your cultivation base, how can it break through the thought division realm? This, Zhen Chongming opened his mouth and pushed Zhu Xiaochun with his arm, or you give the old great treasure a detailed explanation. Good. Zhu Xiaochun grabbed his head and grinned, only to start talking. 3 years ago, old great treasure, after you went out, there was no news. Our spiritual stones were used up because there was immortal slaying vine outside. We dare not go out, we are ready to dig out from the back. However, the channel has not yet been dug. The two immortal slaying vines came in from the secret place at the entrance of the cave. Fortunately, it was not long enough, or they rolled out the two of us. When this happens, we are of course afraid of death. Old great treasure, you are not coming back. We don't know how many days of immortal slaying vine, how can it grow so fast, so of course we dug up and dug 2 days, I finally dug a passage and ran out from behind. After we ran out, we couldn't help but rush to the top of the mountain to look at it and see what happened. How could immortal slaying vine grow so fast? I don't know, I'm scared. We saw the old great treasure. The immortal slaying vine you planted is growing close to the top of the mountain. And there are at least 7,800 star-shaped bodies around the valley. Let's think about it later. I think it must be that this little night mountain is not around. It is this kind of star-shaped cheek. It must be that some stars will run into the valley and be killed by this immortal slaying vine. Then, I was angered by the star-shaped cheese here, which led to so many star-shaped sieges. However, looking at the end of these stars, it is certainly not the opponent of these immortal slaying vine. Even if there is no military extinction, it is still dead. Immortal slaying vine is sure to get so many star-shaped nutrients, so it grows so fast. The old great treasure, you are not here, this immortal slaying vine grows like this, we would have never dared to live here. But when I was about to leave, I had a chance to think that these stars could be level 4 mid-level monster beast. Immortal slaying vine is just a matter of digesting flesh and blood, and many useful things on the star, including monster core. At the end of this, there are at least 100 pieces of spiritual stones, so I thought about it, we still can't bear these stars. Later, we used the mountain vines in the mountains, and connected a few hooks at one end. The hooked corpse is hooked from below. This day, I can hook a couple of 30 heads. It's just that the star-shaped scorpion is far from the far side of the mountain wall. In the end, we hooked up to more than 300 star-shaped corpses. And then you took out these star-shaped corpses and sold them. Han Weiwei turned over the roll one's eyes when he heard that Zhu Xiaochun had to think about it, but he heard that the last two people actually used this kind of earth-shake shape-shift great art to hook more than 300 stars. The body of the chewing is also somewhat stunned. Zhu Xiaochun nodded and said, the monster beast we sold a total of 36,000 of the spiritual stones. We felt that the remaining monster beast was not too bad, so we found someone who made something like a long fishing rod. Anyway, it hooked up more than 300 star-shaped corpses' naked body. When we went to sell more than 300 stars, we participated in an auction. As a result, at the auction, I saw a shapeshift great art with a greenwood sword. That's it? Zhu Xiaochun said, from his arms like the great treasure, he took out a 3-footed Aoki sword and handed it to Wei Suo. This little sword is only a half-spirit rank attack on the shapeshift great art, but the people at the auction said that this small sword can also inspire the spiritual chi. I remember the Blue Emperor bottle gourd of great treasure, can you stimulate the spiritual chi? If we had this thing, wouldn't it be easier to get in and out of the valley to pick up the monster beast's body? So I and Chen Chongming took the shapeshift great art. Later, under the test, it was just right, allowing one person to enter and exit. Chi. Wei Suo True Yuan has always seen that he has no pattern on the cyan wooden sword. At the same time, the Glaucom great treasure is released, but naturally it also has a share of spiritual qi, which can completely enclose Weisuo. There is a little more inside. Seeing such a scene, Weisuo couldn't help but shook his head and lamented that this pair of guys was really stupid. You know, he was listening to green-robed old man made it very clear, because the shapeshift of spiritual chi class great art great treasure the enemy power itself does not great treasure, so such shapeshift great art great treasure itself, which stimulates the shapeshift great art great treasure, a group of spiritual chi, is now very scarce, a dozen cities may not be able to find a piece, did not expect these two guys in an auction, incredibly bought such a shapeshift great art device. With this sword, we will sell all the remaining stars in it later. When we collected the remaining stars, we found that the other monsters that were rolled up by Immortal Slaying Vine in the past 10 days also had 10 heads. We thought that if the Immortal Slaying Vine grows a little longer, can we roll more monster beasts that pass by? So we later went to buy the monster beast's flesh and blood. Anyway, Immortal Slaying Vine just swallowed the monster beast's flesh and blood, and did not want the inner core and the like. Regardless of the monster beast's rank, the purchase of the monster beast's flesh and blood price is also very cheap. Zhu Xiaochun said with gusto, the Immortal Slaying Vine is longer and longer, but it didn't seem to be long a year ago. It seems that it can only grow up to 300 and 400 feet long. The monster beast that passes through this heaven's dome is still a lot when the luck is a little bit. These Immortal Slaying Vine can also roll up 10 monster beasts in a matter of days. When you are lucky, when you encounter a group of monster beasts, the harvest will be great treasure. In addition to the Star Crest, the most powerful one is that there are more than 300 level 4 low-grade stone armor beasts. Let us make a great treasure. Anyway, we are here, as long as the monster beast sold by Immortal Slaying Vine is sold, the spiritual stones used in culture is enough. Anyway, we only need to manage it. Han Wei heard straight one's eyes. Weisuo arranged these Immortal Slaying Vine, just for the safety of Dongfu, where I thought it would become such a tool to earn spiritual stones. Now, listening to Zhu Xiaochun, this place is like a spirit field that will continue to produce spiritual stones. Even if you have enough spiritual stones cultivation, it is impossible to break through the cultivation base of Thought Division realm so quickly. And what are the restrictions in it? Weisuo heard it all, but when he heard Zhu Xiaochun say the secret place, he still didn't understand. After all, he is very clear that the Heavenly Circuit Realm 3rd layer breaks through the 4th layer, and the Heavenly Circuit Realm 4th layer breaks into the 5th layer for a long time. Jiyat and Han Wei are now the cultivation base of the Thought Division realm, mainly relying on Sea Immortal City's spirit gathering formation and the crystal marrow. At the normal speed of the relationship, Zhu Xiaochun and Zhen Chongming originally only had to Heavenly Circuit Realm's cultivation base. For 3 years, even if there is no day and night retreat, you can't break through the Thought Division realm. That's because there is a cultivator in addition to the monster beast. Zhu Xiaochun explained, there have been a cultivator that has been rolled down by Immortal Slaying Vine in the past 3 years. We have also got a lot of good things from them. One time I didn't know that there were several disciples that didn't know what sect passed. Anyway, a few people were rolled up by Immortal Slaying Vine. They all had a kind of medicine pill like a crystal bead. The medicine pill spiritual chi is very good. We tried to refining one. We found that one is equal to the number of spiritual chi of high-grade spiritual stones, and the refining speed is fast. Water crystal bead like medicine pill. Weisuo took a trip. Jia is the eyes flash, and immediately asks, this medicine pill, do you have any remaining? No, it's all used by our culture. Zhu Xiaochun and Zhen Chongming looked at each other and were embarrassed to grab the head. The kind of medicine pill, is it only half a pigeon like great treasure? Jia made a stroke towards 2 people. Yes. It is only such a great treasure. Both Zhu Xiaochun and Zhen Chongming nodded affirmatively. Senior sister, do you know what this is? Medicine pill. Han Wei couldn't help but turn around and look at Jia. Heavenly Crystal Emperor pill. Jia smiled a surging sound. The few cultivators that were rolled down, no accident, should be the elite disciple of Jade Heaven section. Jade Heaven sect's elite disciple, as soon as I heard Ji Ya say, both Han Wei and Wei Suo were shocked. Jade Heaven sect is famous in heavenly profound continent. Like Mystic Wind sect, Jade Heaven sect is the top 10 super great sect in heavenly profound continent. The scale and strength of this type of sect is even more than that of Yin Corpse sect. Heavenly Crystal Emperor pill is a medicinal pill made with Jade Heaven sect and high-grade spiritual stones. This medicine pill can speed up the marketing speed with great treasure, but the raw material of the refining material is very rare, and it is only awarded as a sect reward to the elite disciple in section. Ji Ya looked at Wei Suo and said, fortunately, these Jade Heaven sect's disciple are not accompanied by a great teacher, otherwise immortal slaying vine may not be able to stop it. Maybe you will be turned upside down. The shapeshift great art, which has such a refining of medicine pill, is no wonder that it can be in the super great section. Wei Suo frowned. Jade Heaven sect, the sect, has fallen a few elite disciple here, and no one has come over to track it. I later felt that there was a strange thing near the Xiaoyu mountain. The cultivator that came to explore it was quite a lot, but basically it was rolled up by immortal slaying vine. There are several powerful cultivators that should be the Thought Division Realm 3/4 layer. From them, we also got some high-level medicine pill that can be used for culture, otherwise culture is not. It will be so fast. The arrangement in this small night mountain was also obtained from some of the cultivators that were later rolled down. Zhu Xiaochun said with apologetic, as for the people who have Jade Heaven sect in it, we don't know anyway. In the past 6 months, it seems that there is no cultivator coming over. Jade Heaven sect's disciple is very terrifying. This great sect sends a lot of disciples every year. It's normal to explore the wilderness outside of Heaven's dome and find the great treasure. It does not necessarily attract the attention of section. Ji Ya looked at Wei Suo and nodded. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 400. Chapter 413 says that you still don't believe. Golden Core. Haha, I finally got into the Golden Core. Among the secret place quiet rooms of Eastern Jade Paradise, Li Xiahua, wearing a dark green shapeshift great art, sent out a surging sound. Vertex novels, handwriting novels. In front of him is a green golden core with a slightly greater treasure than the pigeon's egg, which exudes a bright green glow. So small, what's so good? If Wei Suo is by his side at the moment, seeing his golden core and his look at the moment, he must have to say that. But at this time, Li Xiahua looked at the golden core in front of him, but the more proud he was. A surging sound whispered, I saw him open mouth. This green golden core sunlight flashed, it was hidden in his mouth. Almost at the same time, his body spiritual chi will be out, in his body the outside condense a green snake-like appearance. My divine consciousness is nearly twice as strong as the cultivator of the golden core first layer. My golden core is also a lot stronger than the old guys of Reverend Changfeng and Reverend Tian San. I finally got the golden core. I am invincible in several cities around me. Li Xiahua first showed a clear spirit, and immediately wow ha ha ha's laughter. In the surging sound, a surging sound of the bang, I saw that he did not open the door, and the green light flashed directly, and the door of the quiet room was smashed and swept out. Whoosh! Li Xiahua turned into a green light and went straight to heaven. As his green escape light rushed over Eastern Jade Paradise, the funnel-shaped clouds in the sky above dissipated, and it seemed that the funnel-shaped cloud of this giant great treasure was swallowed up by him. The momentum is extremely amazing. Look, he is flying out. Golden Core Cultivator is the Golden Core Cultivator. The momentum and pressure are so powerful. The cultivator like us is afraid that it will be pinched by a finger. It is said that this Li Elder is very young, and now it is a Golden Core, and there is no limit to the future. Eastern Jade Paradise 2 Golden Core Stage Great Treasure Cultivators. This time even Star Convening Sect did not control shapeshift great art at all. As soon as Li Xiaohua's figure appeared in the sky, the most cultivator of the great treasure in 7-star city was full of horror. Congratulations to Li Elder for the successful core formation and promotion to the Golden Core cultivation base. At this time, the sky above the Eastern Jade Paradise seemed to be dark again, and a surging sound with a strong great treasure was also heard in 7-star city. This is definitely another Golden Core cultivator, Reverend Chang Feng from Eastern Jade Paradise. The power of the Golden Core Great Treasure Cultivator is really great. If I can repair the Golden Core Great Treasure Cultivator, that would be great. This surging sound sounded the heart of the great cultivator in the 7-star city. However, in Li Xiaohua's eyes, it is a more proud look. By generation, Reverend Chang Feng is still 2 generations higher than him, but any sect is cultivation base. Now he and Reverend Chang Feng are both Golden Core first layer cultivation base, so they can already sit on the same level. It is. And now Reverend Chang Feng does not show up, just send out surging sound congratulations, clearly is afraid to show up with him. Surging sound is pressed down by him, seen by all 7-star city people. Reverend Chang Feng is not as good as him. Li Xiaohua. Invincible. Haha, around several cities, no one is my opponent, I can go sideways. Li Xiaohua slowly fell into the gates of Eastern Jade Paradise after a few smirking laughs in his heart. Among the gates of Eastern Jade Paradise, the secret place is a splendid flower, a beautiful temple that looks like a fairyland. Li Elder. Li Xiaohua fell. Almost all the elders of Eastern Jade Paradise, the elite disciple that can walk around the door, have all been lined up below. A cultivator promoted to the Golden Core Great Treasure Cultivator, in any sect is incredible thing. Li Elder, you really have core formation succeeded. Sect Master is now retreating at the small celestial dwelling secret place, but has already passed the slogan. After 10 days, it will be auspicious, and a ceremony will be held to invite sect cultivators to come to the ceremony. Li Xiaohua's gaze flickered for a moment, nodded. Surging sound color nodded. Master, this is the urgent letter that Mr. Yu sent before a moment. A yellow shirt cultivator Great Treasure stepped forward and handed a small scroll of sheepskin. One person got the word, the chicken dog ascended to heaven. Li Xiaohua was promoted to the Golden Core Great Treasure Cultivator, and his pro-discipline disciple's position in sect is naturally different immediately, so the face of this yellow shirt cultivator is also a look of joy. Jia and Han Weiwei are not dead yet, go to the rare treasure pavilion to make trouble. The small scroll of sheepskin was just a glance, and Li Xiaohua's eyes flashed a slight horror. Very good, since you are not dead, just catch back. Jia Thing also counted as intercourse to stay. As for Han Weiwei, pretty is also good, just give me to do concubine. I Golden Core Great Treasure Ceremony, shun then the concubine, collect concubine is rare treasure pavilion Great Miss Treasure, then even if rare treasure Great Pavilion treasure into the Eastern Jade Paradise, there is nothing to say. As for the division of the rare treasure pavilion, it is time to talk to the old guy of Reverend Tiansan and change it again. On the face of Li Xiaohua, there was a sneer. I went to the secret place to do something lust. After saying this, Li Xiaohua took a shadow and ran out of Eastern Jade Paradise. Golden Core Stage Great Treasure Cultivator. It's just like core formation. Spiritual Chi, this is the spiritual Chi of the Golden Core Cultivator. Look at him like it is going to send shapeshift great art to go. Soon, the cultivator of 7-star city saw Li Xiaohua walking in the streets of 7-star city. Invincible, there are few people around me, no one is my opponent. Li Xiaohua is now a dreary cold look without a lust, but at the moment his lust in his heart, but no shapeshift great art is described in words. In the awe of gaze, Li Xiaohua arrived in front of the building that transported the shapeshift great art line connecting Fallen Moon City. From 7-star city to Spirit Peak City, you have to transfer through Fallen Moon City. Seeing that Li Xiehua was about to step into the great treasure door of the temple that sent the shapeshift great art array, but at this moment, he suddenly stopped. Because there is a passerby cultivator on one side, it is also coming towards this great treasure door, and this guy, a pair of people who are looking down on lust, did not notice Li Xiehua. When the guy walked to the secret place near Li Xiehua, he just thought of something unpleasant. He even spit on his mouth, and the saliva was just rushing toward Li Xiehua. Pu. This saliva, naturally unable to spit on Li Xiaohua's body, and collided with the green spiritual qi outside Li Xiehua, immediately disappeared invisible, but Li Xiaohua's face was obviously gloomy. Is this guy not long-eyed? Even a golden core stage great treasure cultivator didn't pay attention. No, this guy is definitely going to be miserable. Li Xiehua came all the way, but he was very eye-catching. At this moment, he saw the cultivator of this scene, but there was number 1000 or 800. These cultivators saw such a lust scene, and most of the great treasures changed their faces. In the heart, they couldn't help but get this passerby cultivator. The cultivator wore an ordinary shapeshift great art suit, which looked very shabby and looked stupid. No. But what makes the cultivator who sees the scene stunned is that this poor rogue cultivator, which is very poor at first sight, should have no background in it. After taking a sip of water to Li Xiehua, it seems that it has not reacted yet. From the front of Li Xiehua, move towards the shapeshift great art array. Why, do you want to go past me in this way? What makes many cultivators stunned is that Li Xiehua looks cold and gives a surging sound. Why? Is this predecessor calling me? Let a lot of cultivators almost fell to the ground. The poor acid passers-by cultivator, still very strange look, left and right looked. You spit on me, just when I don't exist, I want to leave. Li Xiaohua's eyes murderous intention flash, no nonsense, direct coldly said. Spit? You said just now? I am really sorry, I didn't pay attention, I didn't mean it. After saying this sentence, the poor acid passerby cultivator immediately turned to go. Is this guy looking for death? Around the cultivator, all felt that the scalp was numb, and I felt that the head of this poor acid passer cultivator must have some problems. If you face a cultivator of the same order, or if the cultivation base is not as good as your own cultivator, then it may be over. But now this is a golden core stage great treasure cultivator. With such a sentence, and then immediately lazy to take care of each other's appearance, any golden core great treasure cultivator, face must be able to go down. You want to find death? A sturdy murderous aura sprang from Li Xiaohua's body, and the green snake formed by spiritual qi outside his body also writhed, and a pair of cockroaches would soon bite each other. What happened to you? I am in a hurry to go right away, but being eaten by Li Xiehua, the poor acid passer cultivator seems to be a little anxious. He said, what am I looking for? You can't get rid of it, don't blame me for killing you. Hearing this poor acid passer cultivator, all the onlookers of the cultivator were completely speechless. In their eyes, the cultivator is no different from a necked body. Great Li Xiehua smirked and laughed. I won't let you leave this secret place today. What means do you have now? You can use it to kill me. Nice. This is what you forced me. The poor acid passerby cultivator reached out and actually took out a shapeshift great art great treasure from the treasure receiving pocket. A sneer suddenly appeared in Li Xiaohua's mouth. As soon as he reached out, he saw a Dao technique shapeshift great art. But at this time, what everyone didn't think was that Li Xiaohua suddenly screamed a surging sound, and the whole person swiftly flew upwards. I saw one of his feet on the bottom of the floor, and there was a great treasure hole. Pa! Without a pause, the golden and yellow brilliance shot from the top of his head. Li Xiaohua's eyes just flashed a horrifying look. This group of gold and yellow brilliance had directly shattered a divine light screen that he had rushed, and crushed a ray of light in his mouth. I shot it directly on him. What is this shapeshift great art great treasure? Until then, all the onlookers of the cultivator, almost to see the poor acid passers-by cultivator sacrifice, is a door-shaped shapeshift great art great treasure. Under the one shot of shapeshift great art great treasure, Li Xiaohua's entire naked body immediately opened a bloody fog, and the whole person was almost flattened at once. How? All the eyeballs of the cultivator almost squirted out directly, and the sound of the surging sound of the air-cooled air became a piece. Obviously, Li Xiaohua is dead and can't die anymore. A fake package, just under the eyes of everyone, Core Formation's genuine golden core stage great treasure cultivator, even like a fly, was directly shot dead, and was a chilly passerby cultivator, just like this just let it go to death. And let all the onlookers cultivator almost spurt out a blood, this time the poor acid passer cultivator also smashed a surging sound, really, telling you to entangle you to kill you, still do not believe. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 401. Chapter 401 Dongfu Arrangement. For real. As soon as we heard Wei Suo say, both Chen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun are an incredible table lust, old great treasure, shouldn't you lie to us? Talking to such two guys, of course, can only go straight. Vertex novels, handwriting novels. After looking at the two, Wei Suo said, I say so, of course not to lie to you. However, this heaven-mending pellet is not as fascinating as you think. It can only raise the shapeshift great art up to heaven level low grade. Enhancing the ordinary work shapeshift great art to heaven level low grades shapeshift great art, at most, the true UN power equivalent to the true high level function shapeshift great art is not like the true high level work shapeshift great art. With other mysterious. You are going to use this medicine pill or you want to do shapeshift great art to change the real high level shapeshift great art cultivation, you just choose. Heaven level low grade? Heaven level low grade is enough. It's not the super great sect, there is no heaven level great art, and even the super great sect, and only the elite disciple in the elite disciple, it's possible to get the true pass of the heaven level great shapeshift great art. In such a situation, the heads of Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun turned their heads not slow. They were all very happy and grinned. We will use this medicine pill to improve the shapeshift great art rank. In this case, then let us take a look at your residence and another exit from the cave. Wei Suo nodded. With these immortal slaying vine and your layout, this secret place is already small, and we must definitely use it as a base. In order to prevent any cultivator from entering from that exit, I still have to make some arrangements at the other exit. Come on, old great treasure, we will lead you, we have a lot of quiet rooms in it, you are all in it. Zhu Xiaochun immediately turned around and was ready to lead the way, but suddenly it seemed to think of something, and turned suspiciously and looked at Ji-Yat. Old great treasure, how is her name the same as the name of the first beauty of Spirit Peak City? Yes, Zhen Chongming is also a slap in the face, only to react. Han Weiwei looked at the two in disdain. What is the same? She is my senior sister Ji-Yat. Have you just heard me calling her senior sister? Ah. But is Ji-Yat not married to the young master of Eastern Jade Paradise? How can I be with you? Zhu Xiaochun suddenly became a stunned, admired dying table lust, old great treasure, you should not dig the guy's corner. What digs the corner? Eastern Jade Paradise is a fake news, my senior sister did not marry Eastern Jade Paradise. Eastern Jade Paradise, this is too much, I will make them look good. Han Weiwei immediately screamed for a surging sound. No, does Eastern Jade Paradise actually do this? Not afraid to be exposed to lies, lost face. This doesn't make sense. Old great treasure, isn't Spirit Peak City the first beauty to follow you? You are too powerful. Old great treasure, where have you gone in the past few years? How can you become a golden core stage great treasure cultivator? What, have you gone to Cloud Spirit Continent? Just like this, the simple guys with these two great treasures said, along the rampant rampage, after a great treasure Wei Suo and others arrived at the current residence of the two guys. Is this really what you guys got out of? When you see the scene in front of you, let alone Han Wei, even Wei Suo and Ji Ya are completely stunned. Appearing in front of their eyes, it is actually a cave in the mountainside. This cave is obviously formed naturally. The square has a shape of 670 feet, and the height is also 67 feet. It should be dug by both Chen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun. Just dug it here. The ground inside the great treasure cave was flattened, and a lot of flowers and trees were planted to make it resemble a garden. The most important thing is that there is still a courtyard in front and behind, and there is a room in the room. This courtyard is still a brick and stone structure, carved with beams and columns, very beautiful, not just piled up with the rocks here. How, old great treasure, not bad. When seeing Wei Suo and others stunned, Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun said very proudly. How did you get it out? Wei Suo and Ji Ya and Han Wei followed the two people into this vastly populated residence, which was a bit ridiculous. It was not only the quiet room and the warehouse, but the furnishings were also well equipped. That is my idea. Zhen Chongming said with a sigh of relief. One time we found a room in a treasure receiving pocket from a cultivator that was rolled down by immortal slaying vine. It also looks the same as an ordinary house, but the brickwork of the whole naked body fits very well and can be collected into the treasure receiving pocket. This is sure to stay overnight in the wild and not to sleep with the wind, just put the house out. So when we went to sell the monster beast we received here, we let a shop customize a courtyard like this. Old great treasure, look closely, these courtyards are all made up of a room. With a mid-level treasure receiving pocket, you can take them away. However, a mid-level treasure receiving pocket can only be collected one by one. We have returned to the courtyard many times before we brought it back. Wei Suo and Ji Ya, Han Wei are silent for a while. This genius idea can only be imagined by two guys like this. Anyway, even if it is a very sought-after Wei Suo, it is estimated that it will not spend such a great treasure to make such a secret place courtyard. With such a great treasure, it is better to spend more time on the culture. Even so, these two guys are already the cultivation base of the thought division realm first layer. People are more than people, mad, if you let some desperate painstaking cultivation for many years, have not broken through the thought division realm cultivator to see these two guys and such a secret place, it is estimated to be depressed directly to the past. You sell so many monster beasts, so many times back and forth, actually not targeted by other cultivators. After silently shaking his head, Wei Suo couldn't help but watch the two ask the sentence. I have been staring at one or two times and I have followed the night in the mountains, but I was killed by immortal slaying vine. Later, we were careful not to shoot the monster beast in one place. Zhen Chongming said with exultation, but 2 times later we deliberately led 2 cultivators who wanted to kill people to the small night mountain. From the 2 cultivators that were supposed to kill people, we also got more than 10,000 products of spiritual stones. Hearing that, Chen Chongming said, Wei Suo is completely speechless. Fortunately, this little night mountain is close to Spirit Peak City, and there is no top-level great treasure pie around Spirit Peak City. There is no special thing to produce in this secret place Heaven's Dome. Otherwise, it is strange to make shapeshift great art with these 2 great treasure cultivators. This secret place does not attract the attention of great sect. It may be because the 2 men were scared by immortal slaying vine at the time, and they dug up a somewhat unreasonable relationship. The secret place should be below the bottom of the mountain, and the surging sound outside is not easy to hear. Where is there an exit for this cave? I saw Wei Suo turn around a little, and after looking at the secret place, I immediately looked at Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun. It's not far from here. Old great treasure, we will take you to see and you will know. Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun immediately took the road with great diligence. As the two went out of the exit, Wei Suo was completely speechless. The exit passage is just behind the secret place residence. And this passage is straight out, there is no road. Outside the aisle is a secret place hillside, which should be located just behind the valley where Wei Suo cultivated immortal slaying vine. The secret place hillside is still relatively dark, but the key is that the hillside is flat and there is no layout at all. If there is a cultivator that just finds this channel, it will be able to enter it smoothly, and the two people's residence will be discovered at once. Seeing such a lost situation, Wei Suo can only once again lament that the luck of these two guys is good enough, and they have not been secretly followed up. And two guys like this, there is nothing to say. After a brief look at the scene around the secret place, Wei Suo stood on a secret place that was not far from the secret place. I first dug a pit on the secret place, and took a monster beast from the treasure receiving pocket, which was specially equipped with the monster beast body. After throwing it into the pit, Wei Suo went from the treasure receiving pocket again. Treasure essence jade case was also taken out. Old great treasure, you have to plant immortal slaying vine behind this. Looking at Wei Suo will always be taken out as a small plant immortal slaying vine, and both Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun reacted. Crap, if there is no protection behind this, if there is a strong confrontation, what should I do directly from this back? Han Wei gave a white look. But this is also planted behind, and it will be very troublesome for us to enter and exit. Zhen Chongming grabbed the scalp, and some of the hairpin looked like, when the immortal slaying vine here also grows like the great treasure on the other side, it covers the whole mountain. At that time, there is no way to stimulate the Qi. The shapeshift great art great treasure, the people inside cannot dig holes. It doesn't matter, I naturally have shapeshift great art, so you don't need to worry about this. After Wei Suo planted this plant immortal slaying vine, it suddenly blinked and nodded to Ji Ya and Han Wei, go, let's go to the valley in front. Now go to the valley in front, Wei Suo, what do you want to do? When I heard the words of Wei Suo's, Ji Ya and Han Wei did not understand. I suddenly thought of this. Wei Suo didn't say much, put his hands flat and put them in front of Ji Ya and Han Wei. Wei Suo, you want to try? Both Ji Ya and Han Wei's brows are slamming, and they all reacted. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 402. Chapter 402 Vowed to Follow. Wei Suo's hand is clutching, and it is the three strange green crystal stones that can continue to grow when the spiritual herb is in decline. Vertex novels, handwriting novels. Now that he has taken out the three green crystal stones, it is obvious that he wants to see if the three green crystal stones can make the immortal slaying vine continue to grow. After all, Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun had already made it clear that the immortal slaying vine in the secret place valley had stopped growing half a year ago and should only grow so long. For Wei Suo, the length of this immortal slaying vine is equivalent to the attack distance of shapeshift great art great treasure, of course, the longer the better. Even if the length is not long, if you can make immortal slaying vine more solid, it is equivalent to improve the powerful energy of shapeshift great art great treasure. It is only this unknown green crystal stone that allows the spiritual herb to continue to grow and increase its potency. It is used on the immortal slaying vine. It is useless. Will it lose the peculiar powerful energy of this green crystal stone? Wei Suo still has to. I tried it again. Let's go. Seeing that both Ya and Han Wei suddenly understood what they were going to do, Wei Suo didn't say much, and inspired the Blue Emperor bottle gourd. Originally, Chen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun didn't even understand what Wei Suo was doing, but when Wei Suo and Ji Ya and Han Wei turned and flew out, the two guys immediately followed the words. After a short period of time, the group appeared in the Valley of Immortal Slaying Vine, which looked a bit more terrifying at the sight of more than 30 plants. After a brief look, I saw Wei Suo coming to the edge of an Immortal Slaying Vine secret place, then digging the soil at the bottom of the immortal slaying vine, and sticking the three green crystal stones in his hand. The plant immortal slaying vine was placed. The soft green light emitted from the 3 green crystal stones covered a few feet of the square, and the immortal slaying vine was stained with some greenish appearance. After putting the 3 green crystal stones down, Wei Suo took a shot on one of the treasure-receiving pockets on his body, but took another monster beast. Because all the monsters of the order are useful to mind-devouring bug, Wei Suo also took a lot of photos along with Mystic Fiend Ghost Claw on his way to and from Fire Island and back to Heavenly Profound Continent. I met the monster beast, and now he is not missing the monster beast in the treasure-receiving pocket. After taking out the body of a monster beast, he reached out and raised the head of the monster beast directly and slanted it up. To make Han Wei and Ji Ya somewhat aghast, it was seen that the monster beast's corpse through a blue emperor bottle gourd in the sphere of spiritual chi, surrounded by a motionless immortal slaying vine, but like the original sleeping python, all of a sudden smell of blood to wake up in general, around the rough great treasure some terrifying immortal slaying, all the shoe swam up, toward the head vine the beast corpse rolled over. However, because of the recent origin of this plant immortal slaying vine, the immortal slaying vine has not been able to roll up the monster beast, and it has not been exposed at all. Outside. Kaka. After a burst of sour bones and surging sound, the plant was very flexible and the tightly packed immortal slaying vine quickly loosened. Puff, it was twisted like a rag, and the seemingly dry monster beast corpse fell to the ground. Without a pause, Wei Suo took out a monster beast and threw it up. One after another, the body of nearly 100 monsters was lost in succession, and Wei Suo stopped after the animal had eaten the flesh and blood by immortal slaying vine. After stopping, Wei Suo squinted a little, but took another set of Cyan's array flag. This set of Cyan array flag, which seems to be at least 100 more than the face of the spiritual chi full of Cyan small flag. On each side of the Cyan small flag, there are strange runes covered with rain clouds and leaves. Wei Suo, what is this? Upon seeing Wei Suo taking out so many Cyan small flags at once, Han Wei couldn't help but curiously ask this sentence. This is the set of array flag for Mountain God Blessings formation. After Wei Suo replied, a stalk of True Yuan kept on moving into the Cyan small flag in his hand. I saw these Cyan small flags immediately turned into a stream of Cyan, automatically dispersed, fell to the ground. Whether it is rock or mud, it seems to be directly hidden, drilling into the ground. Very strange. In the end, Wei Suo's only had a small flag of Cyan in his hand. This small flag looks slightly more precious than the remaining 100 small flags. After True Yuan's injection, the Cyan brilliance on the Cyan small flag, the faint condense is a mountain shape. Wei Suo just put a small flag on it, and a hint of light Cyan spiritual chi came out from the ground. These light Cyan spiritual chi are all wood attribute, which is very suitable for the growth of various flowers and trees. Chi. Old great treasure, you are like this. Is this immortal slaying vine not expensive to expire? What makes both Chen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun stunned is that it is very clear, so that the surrounding forests seem to be vivid and moisturized a lot of the spiritual chi, which seems to cover a few dozen miles. It doesn't matter, this array flag equivalent to is array core. You can use this array flag to control this array. You are waiting for me for a while. After Wei Suo said the sentence, it was a figure and swept up. After a round of mountain naked body climbing along immortal slaying vine, Wei Suo found the length of these immortal slaying vine at about 350 feet. The immortal slaying vine, which has just swallowed nearly 100 monster beasts, now looks no obvious change at all, and the length and thickness are similar to the rest of the immortal slaying vine. After a slight indulgence, Wei Suo fell again and fell to Ji Ya and Han Wei. And how was it? Ji Ya asked with a question. When Wei Suo flew up and looked around immortal slaying vine, she knew that Wei Suo must have changed before and after seeing this immortal slaying vine. There is no obvious difference. Wei Suo watched her answer, then looked down and looked at 3 unknown green crystal stones. From now on, There is no change in the brilliance emitted on the green crystal stone. There should be no lust condition with any peculiar powerful energy. When you come back tomorrow, you should know if it is useful. Previously I used the monster beast to nurture these immortal slaying vine, and it took a night to see the obvious changes. After Wei Suo said this to Ji Ya, he carefully buried the 3 green crystal stones with mud. After all, these 3 unknown green crystal stones are also rare and different treasures. If you lose them, you can lose the giant treasure. Next, Wei Suo puts away the cognac monster beast, inspires the Blue Emperor bottle gourd, and then signals everyone to enter the Blue Emperor bottle gourd inspired by the spiritual qi. Then I saw Wei Suo, a true Yuan entangled in the cyan small flag, and slammed it again. The true qi, which was pulled out on the ground, stopped immediately. The original qi, which was filled with mountains and forests, slowly dissipated as the mountain winds flowed. Let's go. After seeing a sigh of relief, Chen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun, Wei Suo returned to the cave with a few people. You are now 2 people on hand, there is something, all out and show it to me. After returning to Dongfu, Wei Suo entered the secret place residence of Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun, sat down in the great treasure hall of the secret place residence, some like interrogating 2 people. We also have the look of the great treasure of 80,000 spiritual stones, and these shapeshift great art great treasure. Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun listened to Wei Suo, but there was no need to think about shapeshift great art. All 7 or 8 treasure receiving pockets on both hands were picked up and handed to Wei Suo. It's just these things. After Wei Suo took all the things from the 7 or 8 treasure receiving pockets, Han Wei was very excited to see it, but soon she shook her head. The 2 people have nothing but the spirit shift great art great treasure of spirit rank. There are a lot of different things, medicine pill and talisman, but there are almost no high ranks. But this is also with Wei Suo, because Wei Suo body of good things are too much, to know even in shapeshift great art great treasure than cloud spirit more continently profound continent, general thought division realm cultivator, the body may not have a true spirit class shapeshift great art great treasure. In the past Han Wei if you can get a spirit rank low grade shapeshift great art great treasure, are not happy. Apart from these things, there is nothing else in you. After seeing these things, Wei Suo looked at the 2 people without moving the surging sound and asked again. There is really nothing, how can we lie to the old great treasure? Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun immediately slammed their chests. You can doubt our IQ, but you can't doubt what we are saying. Since you call my old great treasure and say that you want to follow me, from now on, I promise that I will not tell you at most, but I will deceive you absolutely. But starting today, no matter what I ask you to do, you must listen to me. You must not have any slight disagreement with me. You must never talk to me about conditions like today. Can you do it? Wei Suo looked at the 2 and asked very seriously. In fact, at that time, we also said that the old great treasure is really unwilling, we certainly can't dare to be really rough with the old great treasure. Do not talk nonsense. Wei Suo arbitrarily interrupted the excused Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun, and said coldly, you just tell me now, you can do it without you. Get it? Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun great treasure. After looking at each other, they immediately nodded and said. Then all of you have a big oath. If you violate this statement, there will be no shapeshift great art breakthrough to the golden core cultivation base for the rest of your life, and if you violate this statement and kill me by then, don't blame me. Wei Suo nodded and said. Good. After Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun glanced at each other, they all swear by Wei Suo. These shapeshift great art great treasures are much better than the ones you have on hand, and they are for you. Wei Suo nodded after seeing the 2 swear, and reached out and took 4 shapeshift great art great treasures from the treasure receiving pocket, but 2 spirit rank high grade attacks on shapeshift great art great treasure and 2 pieces. Spirit rank high grades defense shapeshift great art great treasure. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 403. Chapter 403. Vertex Fiction Handwriting Novels. These 4 shapeshift great art great treasures were obtained by Wei Suo at the Sea Hunting Assembly. They were originally intended to be reserved for the 2 guys. Many rogue cultivators, after reaching a certain cultivation base, will recruit a lot of disciples and disciples after they build their own house. They are not only a help to the enemy, but also can do a lot of things. Refining the shapeshift great art, looking for things, collecting news, these things, the general great treasure cultivator, are also to rely on the doorman disciple to do. At Sea Immortal Sect, Wei Suo fully enjoyed the good secret place as a sect real elder. Now back to heavenly profound continent, Wei Suo of course, also cannot light pole a person, under the hand of course is to receive some help Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun these 2 people, although before also silly and he to have and mending pellet things to talk about conditions, but Wei Suo to these 2 guys, also already is very understanding, he also very clear, even if they do not show cultivation base, do not allow this 2 guys, they cannot really make something. The most crucial point is that these 2 people's great treasure brain is really very simple, straightforward, such as 2 people around, than to collect others for security more if the other cultivator, seemingly loyal, who knows the bottom of my heart will think, what will change in mine then? And the 2 guys were there to do some dangerous things, and these 2 guys didn't have any prevarication. Now that he is deciding to collect these 2 guys, the strength of these 2 guys, of course, the higher the better, the heaven mending pellet, the shapeshift great art great treasure, etc., which he can't use. Now Wei Suo's hand has 3 powerful energy to reach Dao rank high grade golden shapeshift great art great treasure, and door panels flying sword, food blood shapeshift great art knives, annihilation golden core and so on, basically equipped with him and Jia, Han Wei are enough. This spirit rank high grade shapeshifty great art great treasure, in Wei Suo, it's really nothing. But this rank shapeshift great art great treasure, for Zhen Chongming and Nu Xiaochun this cultivator, but it's amazing. After all, when Wei Suo left heavenly profound continent, if there was a true spirit class, even if it was spirit shift great art great treasure by spirit rank, he would be ecstatic, great treasure. Old great treasure, this is the spirit shift great art great treasure of spirit rank high grade. Just a glance at the 4 pieces of shapeshift great art great treasure, the spirit light, Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun both sent out a surging sound that seemed to be caught in the throat. Spirit rank high grades shapeshift great art great treasure, old great treasure, are you really giving us? And still give 2 pieces by 1 person. Old great treasure, follow you with spirit shift great art great treasure from spirit rank high grade, and follow you right. For a time, Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun are both old retro treasures. What do we do in the future? What do we do? The water goes in, the fire goes in the fire. Follow me, there is a secret place, there will be no 2 of you and these 2 guys, there is nothing to turn around. After looking at the 2, Wei Suo said, no, you are surging sound no matter what you do, you must remember the oath you just made, or if you have done something that is not good for me, I will deal with you, and I will not be soft-hearted at that time. Great treasure, you can rest assured that we can do something bad for you. Both Chen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun are intercourse eager to receive shapeshift great art great treasure, slamming the chest. You 2 are usually in front of the secret place of the residence. We are going to cultivation at the back of this secret place. If I have something to look for, I will naturally come out. No matter what, you should not enter the back. Wei Suo reaching out, stepping into the back of the courtyard in front of the secret place, said. Okay, we promise not to disturb the old great treasure in the past. Wei Suo has some harsh tone, so that Chen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun are also afraid to have any jokes. They are a little nervous and nod. From tomorrow onwards, I will let you start refining heaven mending pellet, but some materials, or I will prepare this pill recipe. Still can't let you know. Wei Suo looked at two people, then said, you know, this medicine pill and pill recipe, one by other cultivator no, will cause unimaginable serious consequences, and to your cultivation base, know this pill recipe, not insurance. Then even if you do not want to say, maybe some cultivator, there are also shapeshift great art can gouge out what they want from your head tomorrow. Even if there is heaven mending pellet, you cannot carry on the body, cannot bring a single out of this dongfu, to swallow cultivation, you can only swallow in this dongfu cultivation. Well, everything is good for the old great treasure. The old great treasure is back. You are all good at it? Anyway, we are too lazy to use our brains. The words of Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun made Han Weiwei almost instigated with the urge to hold his head on the wall next to it. What about the lust shape of the city of Spirit Peak City and Seven Star City and Fallen Moon City? You and me. Hearing these two guys, Wei Suo shook his head helplessly and said something like this. As it used to be, there is no difference. It's just that the rare treasure pavilion people have been replaced. Zhu Xiaochun and Zhen Chongming have nothing to say. Is there a message from Ye family and Nangong Yuking? Wei Suo looked at the two and asked. No, our great treasure is mostly here in the culture, not going out. Zhu Xiaochun shook his head and said, I thought they were with you, or they were killed by the people of Eastern Jade Paradise. So how do you know that Eastern Jade Paradise is going to deal with us? Han Weiwei saw the two people look at Wei Suo's insistence on Dong King Ai, and Eastern Jade Paradise will definitely not be sent out. Zhen Chongming, of course, did not want to look like, you and the old great treasure did not always hate Dong King Ai, against Jia marrying Dong King Ai, Jia married Dong King Ai, you must be with Eastern Jade Paradise is right, and there are some rumors that Jia is married to Dong King Ai. We certainly want you to do shapeshift great art against Eastern Jade Paradise. Instead, it was killed by Eastern Jade Paradise. Anyway, we know old great treasure, for you are a great treasure, the brain is faint, very dangerous, lust will do it too. Han Weiwei suddenly rolled one's eyes. The two guys' heads were so easy to use at this time and heard that Chen Chongming said that Wei Suo would do it for her great treasure brain. This sentence, her ear roots cannot help but slightly red, the heart does not know how it happened, there is a point that cannot tell the lust thread. You are familiar with the shapeshift great art great treasure that I just gave you, and then I am standing here at the secret place cultivation. Wei Suo stood up, not to mention, and reached out and threw all the treasure receiving pocket of Zhen Chongming and others. Gave two people, and then walked out of this great treasure hall with Jia and Han Weiwei. Wei Suo, what are we going to do next? As soon as he walked out of the great treasure hall, Han Weiwei turned to look at Wei Suo and asked because of the inexplicable lust thread, the surging sound of her speech was not consciously softened, making this sentence very succinct. Ambiguous. I want to honor the Black Bone Dark Lord. It is estimated that there will be another 2 or 3 days. My Black Bone Dark Lord will be refining. However, Wei Suo, who is carefully calculating in his heart, has nothing to think about shapeshift great art. He said with a slight brow, this cave house, the immortal slaying vine is also growing, is safe enough. It will take some time. So I would like to shapeshift great art, is not urgent, you continue to retreat, upgrade cultivation base, then refining heaven mending pellet, promotion work shapeshift great RT level. I took this time to see if I could use the primal chaos Yunwei and silver scales monster beast on hand to refine some of the most powerful shapeshift great art great treasure out, or first to explore what he said to secret place, with naked body how to do, I and green robed old man carefully discussed. Tomorrow I will go to Spirit Peak City and 7 Star City, Fallen Moon City to prepare some materials and listen to the news. In this case, then I went to culture, I have to find another thing. Hearing Wei Suo, Han Weiwei nodded and took a piece from his treasure receiving pocket and handed it to him. Jia, senior sister, this is for you. Crystal marrow, Upon seeing the things in Han Weiwei's hand, Wei Suo and Ji Ya both took a look at her and took it out. It was a crystal of a silver primal chaos Yunwei. I used one when I was away from the cultivation of Fire Island. I still have this one, Wei Suo, I give it to senior sister. Do you have any opinion? Looking at the way Wei Suo and Ji Ya are holding, Han Weiwei said such a sentence. You only used one? Weiwei, this marrow is extremely useful to you, you can refining yourself. Ji Ya waved his hand and refused immediately. However, Han Weiwei couldn't help but say that she was in her hands. Now we are both thought division realm, I am upgrading a little cultivation base. It is not as useful as senior sister. You can improve some cultivation base. If you can break through to golden core cultivation base, 2 golden core stage cultivators together, don't be afraid to act. And Han Weiwei said that after that, he looked at Ji Ya's eyes seriously. Senior sister, you used to care for me when you were at the Rare Treasure Pavilion. Whatever you want, now I have to take care of you at the beginning. Weiwei, when I heard her say, in the eyes of Ji Ya, there was a mist of fog. Her appearance was an iceberg beauty. The great treasure shopkeeper of Rare Treasure Pavilion was very strong, but Wei Suo knew very well that Ji Ya was actually outside. Just inside, the heart is very weak. Well, senior sister, do you want us to go with cultivation? Ignore this guy first. Han Weiwei took the hand of Ji Ya. You'd better follow me to the front. Cultivation. Shapeshift great art, more secure. Ji Ya, you let tricolor flying silkworm stop near the secret place exit. What happened then? We can quickly react to the Han Weiwei and Ji Ya dialogue. Wei Suo has not been talking, until this time, just nodded a nod to say such a sentence. The reason is so, because sometimes the face of Han Weiwei eyes, he is always a little self-conscious because he was in Spirit Peak City, great treasure most of the flow of the time, do the way of the image, of course, great treasure more several times was his previous target Shui Ling but after encountering this outstanding but little beauty, there were several times this outstanding but little was actually replaced beauty Shui of course Nangong Yuking, there are also a few times. But now that I and Ji Ya have already been like this, when I think of it, Wei Suo still can't help but feel a little bit guilty. It seems that I really feel a little embarrassed about elder sister, and the feeling of a little bitch. Did I actually want her to do dual cultivation Deo companion and be a wife? This thought that suddenly appeared in Wei Suo's heart shocked him. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 404. Lord Snowhawk. Dragon Legend. Super Soldier. Cultivation of Rain and Clouds. Budo Supreme. King Yanjai. My neighbor is a banshee. Xianmu Legend. A young Haixian sect disciple wearing a silver shirt stood very respectfully outside Wei Suo's residence. This disciple of silver shirt is the disciple named Linzai Uxian, who is very familiar with Wei Suo. Behind him stood a middle-aged monk in a yellow shirt dressed as a scribe. The middle-aged monk in a yellow shirt looked romantic and suave, exuding aura from his body, forming the shape of ice blue catkins. This monk is naturally Jinyi monk Li Yazan. Elder Wei. Under the flash of yellow light, we saw Wei Suo emerged from his residence. This disciple named Linzai Uxian, Hai Xianzong, immediately performed a very respectful ceremony. Elder Li, I'm sorry to disturb your potential repair. Elder Wei, I can't think of this short period of time. You have already succeeded in killing Yeling and killed Yeling, which is really unimaginable. Elder Li, come to my house and talk about it. After a few words of greeting, Wei Suo invited Li Yazan into his residence. After more than an hour, the yellow light flashed and Li Yazan walked out of Wei Suo's residence alone. After nodding to Lin Qiu, who was still waiting outside of Wei Suo's residence, he walked towards his closed residence. Looking at the look on his face, although it was already known that Wei Suo Jidan had succeeded and killed Yeling, it was still unbelievable until now. What, Wei Suo, a real person of Juden, retreats and is about to hit the second level of Jindan realm. The day after Wei Suo and Li Yazan met, the news of Wei Suo's retreat spread in Haixian city. He was in his 20s, and he was the first person in the Yunling mainland for hundreds of years. Now he has to directly impact Jindan's second cultivation practice. Is he what he got? I think he was doing this because he was afraid that the corpse sect would take revenge. It would happen that the corpse sect would not be secretly calculated just because the door was closed. Mu Xiu Yulin, the wind will destroy it. Wei Suo at this age will be successful, maybe it will cause a lot of suspicion in the sect, maybe it is not only the corpse sect that will deal with him, he may be the best to do so. Choose it. Just when the monks who heard the news couldn't help but discuss it, Wei Suo, Ji Ya, and Han Wei were all in a quiet room with red rocks on all sides. The ground of this quiet room is covered with blue crystals. These crystals exude a unique cold and moist atmosphere, making the monks in this quiet room feel very comfortable. A feeling like spring breeze. But a hall outside this quiet room was filled with a scorching fire, like a grill. If there is a monk who can see the inside and outside of the place where Wei Suo and others are located at this moment, they will find that the place where Wei Suo and others are at this moment is in the belly of a black island. This lacquered black island is no more than 200 feet high, and is not more than 10 miles away. The top is sunken and grass is not growing, but there are many deep ravines on the mountain, and there are continuous bursts of heat and smoke. This small island is awesome from Luo Island. At this moment, Wei Suo didn't know that. After killing Ye Ling under the eyes of everyone, he was in the northern cities of the Yunling continent, but he had the famous title of Juden Real Man. Now when we mention Wei Suo, a real giant, the cities in the northern part of the Yunling mainland are unknown and unknown. Now he and Ji Ya and Han Wei, including the old man in green robe suspended above the ghost tank, are staring at a stone table in the center of this quiet room. On this black stone table, a silver translucent demon is flashing silver light. This demon pill is the demon pill with 4 arms Yunwei. With the passage of time, all of a sudden, there was a crackling sound on this strange monster. Hearing this cracking sound, Wei Suo's face suddenly froze, and he stretched out his hand, as if facing an enemy, and took out 2 golden magic weapons and aimed at the demon pill. Immediately, a crack appeared on the crystal demon's shell. Like the broken egg shell, the shell of this demon was immediately divided into 2 halves along this crack, and a small silver beast with silver glitter appeared in the eyes of Weizhuo and others. So cute. Han Wei, who was also nervous and afraid of something weird in it, her eyes brightened. It's not 4 arms. This looks like a real Xuanhuan Yunwei. Wei Suo, Ji Ya and the old man in green robe were also slightly stunned. I saw that it came out of this demon's shell, but it was actually a small one, with only 2 arms, Xuanhuan Yunwei, covered with silver scales, but the figure was uneven, and it was the same as the original one. The queen-level silver scale monster has 6 or 7 points. It looks like a woman in silver armor. It's just that whether it was the silver scale demon beast or the Xuanhuan Yunwei, it gave people a monstrous and demon feeling, but this Xuanhuan Yunwei looked very immature and cute. Han Wei, did you feel anything wrong? But Wei Suo, who had seen such a powerful beast, did not dare to take it lightly because of the appearance of the hatched monster, and immediately asked. No, Han Wei wanted to grab this monster and play it, but he didn't dare, and said nervously, Wei Suo, I feel this monster seems to want to eat this broken monster. Dan, what do you say? Wei Suo looked at the blinking 2 eyes, and seemed to be looking at their little monster with curiosity. He nodded quietly and said, then you order it to eat by yourself. Okay. Han Wei immediately nodded obediently. I didn't see any movement of her. The one that was less than 1 foot high, like a little girl's Xuanhuan Yunwei, was immediately very happy to pick up half of the demon pill, biting and biting again. Soon, Han Wei stunned. The demon pill split in half is much empty in the middle, but no matter what piece it is, it looks much larger than this little beast. And these two half-elephant, obviously are like crystal, very strong, but in less than a cent of incense, click is like nibbling watermelon, this little animal will nibble half of the demon finished, and happily chewed up the other half of the demon. Weisuo, you said it would not be strangled to death. Han Weiwei couldn't help looking at Weizhuo when he saw the belly of this little animal bulging obviously. If the 8th level monsters can be so stupid, if you eat yourself, then you can let it die. Weisuo looked at Han Weiwei and said. Han Weiwei thought about it too, so he wasn't worried anymore, just watched this little beast continue to nibble the remaining half of the demon. It only took a while or so, and the remaining half of the demon pill was also gnawed by this little beast. However, compared to the time when the little animal's stomach had eaten half of the demon pill, it didn't seem to be much bigger. It seemed that half of the demon had been digested by it. After eating this half of the demon pill, the little animal was still licking on the stone table, and then looked at Han Weiwei's expression with a dazzling look, actually a pair of hungry stomachs, not full. Look. Not yet full? What should I do? Weisuo, do you want to get some monster beasts, and see if it wants to eat? Han Weiwei obviously fell in love with this little beast, and immediately couldn't help looking at Wei asked. Looking at the appearance of this little beast, Weisuo didn't answer. After hesitating a little, he was the demon who made the 7 silver scale monster beasts and the body broken out of Chen Laojia's body. Yin Wa's demon pill was taken out. Weisuo, it seems that he really wants to eat these demon pill. Han Weiwei's eyes flashed, and immediately cried in surprise. In fact, even if Han Weiwei didn't say this, Weisuo already knew this, because as soon as he took out these demon pill, the little beast immediately had a very greedy expression, and he would pounce on his hand. Order it first not to move, Weisuo said immediately. Shen Sheng. Although Han Weiwei didn't know why Weisuo said so, but before the fight, she had been used to listening to Weisuo's arrangement when she encountered something. Command. The little beast immediately stopped, staring at Wei Yao in his hand. But Weisuo first collected all these demon pill, but it was the demon pill that took out several other demon beasts. Then he looked at Han Weiwei and asked, do you feel that this monster is interested in these monsters? Interested, it obviously also eats, but it doesn't seem to be as strong as it was just now. Han Weiwei immediately called out in surprise, could it be said that this monster is dedicated to eating demon? Yes, you can let it eat. Weisuo collected the demon pill again, and then put the demon pill of the Xuanhuan Yunwei that broke out from the old monster Chen in front of the little beast. Click. The little beast held the demon pill again with great joy and bite again. Sure enough, it seems that my Xuanhuan Yunwei is not hungry. Sister, what do you say I call this Xuanhuan Yunwei? Han Weiwei was happy to see the scene. This time it was really the Lord who burned the spirit stone. Upon seeing this scene, Weisuo felt a pain. Anyway, his heart eater is just sucking the brain of the monster. At most, it takes a lot of spirit stones to train the monster liquid, but this Xuanhuan Yunwei directly eats the demon. It seems obvious that the higher order Yaodan has more effects on it, and the more it wants to eat, this higher order Yaodan is a lot of spirit stones. The most important kind of 8-level monster, do not know how many devils to devour to grow up. If any chapter content is not displayed, please visit to read. Tip: you can search for 0.academy00sy or 00sy in Baidu to visit this site. The site address is. To facilitate reading this book next time, you can click add bookmark below to record this reading record, and you can directly read this chapter next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Remember that the more updates you share, the faster. Mobile phone users, please visit